Hello again, everybody. This is Rocket Rick J18, and today I want to do a video response to a request from Pepino Man. And what he wants us to do is to show you a card from your collection that is from uh, each of as many separate decades, I guess, as your collection can muster. For example, I don't have any 19th century cards. None. I don't have anything in my collection that's from the 19th century. So um, I hope to rectify that one day, but so far I can't do that. And then once we've done that, he also wants us to identify a card that we do not have from each of those decades that we would like to have. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. And as I said, I don't have anything from the 19th century, so I'd like to get some examples, maybe of an old Judge card or Allen and Ginter, perhaps even a Goodwin Champions card, something that is from those decades of the let's say the 1870s, 1880s, 1890s. Maybe try to find a card from each of those decades. They're all pretty expensive now, of course, but you know that's my long term goal is to get a playing days card of each Hall of Famer. So as I add to that collection, I hope to have an opportunity to pick up some of these earlier cards. So I'm going to start things off with the current decade, the 2020s, and show you some cards that are from the various decades. So let's and square it up. And here is a 2021 Bowman Sapphire Edition, Gunnar Henderson Chrome Prospects, and it's card number BCP 49 and a Gem Mint 10. Now, this is not an expensive card. You can pick one of these up for, I don't know, $15 or something like that. It's not numbered, but it's pretty. And this is what it looks like on the reverse side. And of course, this was before his Rookie of the year in 2023, so it's just got minor league stats on it. But the one thing that Gunnar could do that so many young kids uh, have struggled with is, he could defend his position, and they thought he was going to have to move to short or to third base from shortstop, which is his natural position, has been through the minor leagues. But he's proved he can handle the shortstop position, and he's pretty good, and he can hit. Boy, can he hit sometimes, but he can hit. He's hit at every level and pretty consistently. So that's Gunnar Henderson, 2020s. From the 20 teens, we have a 2018 Bowman Chrome Shohei Ohtani in the batting pose, and it is in a PSA 9, mint 9. And here's the reverse side of that card. And I don't know, from the 20 aughts, I guess. This is the 2001 Topps Traded combo card of rookies Ichiro Suzuki, and Albert Pujols, and it is in a near mint 8. A pretty nice looking card, and really glad to have this one in my collection. They're going to go up, I think, quite a bit when these two guys get inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is coming up in the not too distant future, because they're both certainly first ballot Hall of Famers. The next card is from the 90s, and it is some of these scratches are on the cover, not on the card, so don't fret too much. But this is from the Upper Deck SE set, and this is the first card of Derek Jeter, of course, and it's a very shiny card. The back is not quite as shiny, with a couple of pictures of Derek there, and has his minor league stats from the 1992 season. And the next card I have to show you is from the 1980s, and it is a 1986 Barry Bonds rookie card from the update set, and it is autographed. And we got this years ago at a show in Pittsburgh when Barry Bonds actually was on the Pirates. He was one of the autograph stars, and managed to get his autograph. This card actually belongs to my son Rick, who doesn't collect baseball cards, and so I've kept this for him. He'll get it back one day. From the 1970s, we have the 1974 Topps Dave Parker rookie card in a near mint 8, card number 252. Dave Parker was one of my favorite players going back to his time with the Charleston, West Virginia Charlies. They've changed their name, and they're in a different. It was a AAA franchise in those days, and Pittsburgh had two outfielders down there: Dave Parker in right field and Richie Zisk in left field. Those two guys really helped fill in the gaps out there, and eventually Zisk was traded to the White Sox, and played out his career somewhere else other than Pittsburgh. Dave was eventually traded to Cincinnati, or free agency, I guess technically. Anyway, he played well for them, and then helped lead the Oakland Athletics to their championship when they defeated the San Francisco Giants. Of course, they had Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco and many other really good players back then. So that's Dave Parker from the 70s. From the 1960s, this is a card that I've shown a couple of times before, and it is my 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle. It's autographed. The auto is graded a 7, and the card is graded a 2. And this is the first baseball card. Well, it's one of the first vintage baseball cards that I bought when I got back into collecting in 1986. And here's what the reverse side of that card looks like. Uh, Mickey and the Yankees narrowly missed out on a world championship in 1960 when they lost in 7 games to the Pirates. 4 very close games and 3 blowouts in favor of the Yankees. The Yankees scored more than twice as many runs as the Pirates did overall in the series, but they didn't win that Game 7, and that cost them the championship. Here's a card from 1959, which I have showed before, and I'm going to show 2 cards from the 50s. One at the beginning of the 50s and one at the end. This is the one at the end. This is Curt Flood. And if you've seen my past videos, and of course this card is a PSA X Mint 6. And this is the very is not it's not the card, but it is the same card, same Curt Flood 1959 Topps card. That was the first card that I ever got in my whole life. I was 6 years old, and I literally found it. It was a pack that had been opened and discarded or put aside on a little playing ball field that was near my apartment in the Narberth, Pennsylvania area. And whoever put it there didn't come back and get it. There was no one there when I got there, so they became my cards, including a Curt Flood. So that's where it all started. The other card from the 50s I'm going to show, I have also shown before, and it is my Mickey Mantle rookie card from the 1951 Bowman set in a PSA 2.5. So that's good plus or good, very good. Nice card. And here's what the back of that card looks like. Oops, upside down. Got a little stain up here at the top, probably gum stain, but corners don't look too bad, and there's no horrible creases or spots or paper loss or anything like that. So that's very happy to have that card. And if you've seen my other videos, you know that I got that card for what was then a large price at the time, $765. Not large now. You'd pay a lot more for that card today. I don't know how much, but a good bit more. Here's my card from the 1940s, and it is a 1949 Leaf Joe DiMaggio in a SGC1. You can see the hints right across here of a side-to-side crease, but it's not immediately visible. There's some corner loss and corner rounding, and there's a little spot up here in the corner. So you can see it's on the back. It's even worse, and this is probably why it got the 1. It looked like it had some writing on it that they tried to erase or blot out or something, and should have just left it alone, obviously. And it's got the eBay seal of approval on it. Not that that makes any difference at all to me, but again, really happy to have that card. From the 1930s, I have one of the 2 Playing Days Ruth cards that I have. This one is the 1932 Bulgaria Sport issue, card number 256 of Max Schmeling and Babe Ruth. And the reason Max Schmeling is on there is because this is a German card. And here is the back of the card. And it says Schmeling and Babe Ruth, obviously. Und. But it's all in German, so I can't translate most of it. 1930s. And here's a card from the 1920s. And this is 1921 W551, hand cut SGC 2.5, Walter Johnson. The W series of cards are from so-called strip cards because they were purchased in vending machines and they came in strips of, I don't know, 5 or 6 cards, something like that. From the 19 teens, barely, this is a T206 Christy Mathewson. It's a 1911 Piedmont back, and it features Christy in a dark cap, and it's in an SGC1. And you can tell why. Not to belabor the point. Here's the reverse side. And again, just thrilled to death to have this card. And my final card is the crown jewel of my pre-war collection. This is a 1909 Piedmont T206 Ty Cobb, the portrait with the green background in an SGC authentic. The speculation behind why it's graded authentic altered is it looks like it had a crease up here in the corner that someone attempted to repair. But that's a really nice looking card for its grade and for its cost. And again, this is the same back, Piedmont back. Well, slightly different back, but the same idea, Piedmont cigarettes. So that's what I have to show you. And what I'd like to do is talk to you about the Pepino Man VR request, and that is, what cards would I like to have in or Grail cards, even unobtainable cards. So I've already talked about the pre 20th century, the 19th century card. In the T206, there's just really a bunch of cards that I would like to have. Certainly, among them would be the Hall of Famers, with the exception of Eddie Plank and Honus Wagner. There's no chance that I'll ever have those cards. So no sense in even fiddling around with it. Not going to get the Sherry McGee. Not going to get the Doyle error. But I would like to get Honus Wagner Playing Days card, which I think would come possibly from the 1900s. Maybe his caramel card, the what is it, E91? I can't remember the number, but you know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. From the teens, I would like to get an example of a Cracker Jack card. But I'm not really too concerned whether it's 1914 or 1915. That's not the issue, but I'd like to have at least one example from that set. From the 20s, there are guess the card that I would really like to have, if I could afford one, would be a card from one of the uh, either York Caramel or Yangling Ice Cream or one of those sets of a Babe Ruth card. So that's probably not realistic, but I do have some of those from the 1920s, but they're not Hall of Famers. So from the 1930s, I would like to have um, a 1935 Gaudy Babe Ruth card. And from the 1940s, I would love to have a 1940 uh, Joe DiMaggio, a 1940 Ted Williams, 1941 Ted Williams, any of those cards from the 40s. From the 1950s, I would love to have a 1952 Jackie Robinson, card number 312. I would also like to have card number 311, which, as I'm sure everybody knows, it's certainly every vintage collector knows, is the Mickey Mantle first card from Topps 1952, card number 311. From the 1960s, I would like to have the 1968 Topps 3D Roberto Clemente card. Maybe someday. From the 1970s, I'd like to get a graded 1973 Topps Mike Schmidt card. I suspect one day that card's going to be a really big price. I'd like to get it before it goes any higher. From the 1980s set, I'd like to get a 1986 Topps Tiffany Barry Bonds. From the 1990s set to the cards, I'd like to get a 1992 Score Joe DiMaggio autograph card. From the 2000s, I'd like to get a 2002 Topps, the regular issue Albert Pujols. I have the Chrome already, so that's what I'd like to get there. From the teens, I would like to get a 2013 Aaron Judge rookie card. That's autographed. Yeah, maybe in a PSA 10 or SGC 10. I don't care which. And then finally, I'd like to get a Gunnar Henderson Bowman draft, Aaron Judge Chrome Sapphire Gold in a PSA 10. So those are the cards that I'd like to get. And I'd like to maybe shout out a couple of other channels while I'm at it. Let's see what I got here. Let's see. Yeah, how about yeah, here we go. How about from Ed Weskergriff? Shout out for his channel. He's a guy that should have a lot more subs than he does, but I don't think that's really too important to Ed. Yeah, I'm okay. Not really. Here we go. I'm getting it. I'm getting there. I'm sorry it's taking so long. Um, okay. And others that I'd like to see get on there. Hammer 44, Mike O, Boston Kid, Joe at Four Soft Corners, and Snoop 12922. Those are all cards that could benefit from some increased viewership. So I'd like to see that happen over the course of the next year or so. So that's what I have for you today. Pepino Man, thank you for doing this VR request and sponsoring uh, this contest. And until we see each other again, this is Rocket Rick J18 wishing that all your collecting dreams come true.